In this lesson, we are going to talk about a special OAuth 2 flow, the resource owner password credentials flow. If you recall from our earlier lessons, we have emphasized the importance of not sharing user passwords directly with the clients. This was one of the core reasons for the creation of OAuth 2, starting with Sam Snavista's story and his editing application Magic Snap, and continuing through our demo with OneDrive and Photobee across all OAuth 2 user-initiated flows, implicit, authorization code, and PKCE. We explored the critical importance of redirecting users to the authorization server. However, there are some rare and special cases where redirecting the user may not be possible, and the client must handle the credentials directly. In my own experience, I have encountered a few situations in projects where this happened, and these can be broken down into three main categories. Technical constraints. In certain environments, technical limitations might make redirection impossible, meaning the client has to manage credentials directly. Client API limitations. There are times when the organization doesn't have control over the client's provided APIs, making it difficult or impossible to implement redirection in the flow. Compliance or legacy system constraints. In some cases, compliance regulations or legacy system limitations don't allow redirection, so an alternative method is needed. In such scenarios, while it's not recommended, you might still want to use OAuth 2. So the question becomes, does the client always need to redirect the resource owner to use OAuth 2? This is where the resource owner password credentials flow comes into play. Let's explore how this flow works. First, as always, we begin with the OAuth 2 roles involved. This flow works with public and confidential clients, though it's highly recommended to be used only with confidential clients due to security concerns. In this flow, only the token endpoint is involved. There is no interaction with the authorization endpoint, as redirection is not part of the process. The user initiates the flow by entering their credentials directly into the client. The client then sends a POST request to the token endpoint to obtain an OAuth 2 access token. Here's a look at the typical curl command for this flow. In the request body, the client provides grant type equals password, indicating the resource owner password credentials flow is being used, the username and password of the resource owner, the client ID and the client secret, optionally OAuth 2 scopes. Note that the client secret is only required for confidential clients, which is highly recommended for added security. Afterward, the authorization server verifies the resource owner's credentials, validates the client's credentials, if confidential. If everything checks out, it generates and returns an OAuth 2 access token and possibly a refresh token. From here, the process is like other flows. The client uses the access token to access the resource owner's resources from the resource server. The resource server validates the token and provides the requested resources. However, while this flow works, it is officially deprecated in OAuth 2.1. due to the security risks it presents. Many identity and access management components still support this flow because of specific legacy cases, but it's crucial to be aware of the risks involved. Here are some risks associated with this flow and the reasons for its deprecation. First, it exposes user credentials to client applications, increasing the risk of theft if the client is compromised. It also violates the OAuth 2 principle of keeping credentials confidential. Additionally, there is no delegation, meaning the client gets full access, matching the user's permissions. Finally, this flow doesn't support modern security practices, like multi-factor authentication or advanced authentication, leading to non-compliance with current standards. To wrap up, avoid using this flow whenever possible. Avoid it as long as you can, and never fully trust the client, even if it is your own application. If there is no other option and you trust the client completely, ensure you implement it carefully and securely.